Siobhan, we wanted to cover the topic of navigating ups and downs and give it specific sort of spotlight attention and really talk in depth about what this really means as well, especially in a work environment. So I guess the opening question is, are ups and downs normal? Like, is it normal to experience sometimes quite pronounced, quite deep, quite dramatic ups and downs at work?
Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, it's normal because we're human, because things happen, because things are cyclical, because regardless of our best intentions, we cannot control every outcome. And in the same way that we spoke in the last time about, our feelings of joy and excitement, but feelings of fear and resentment and anger, they're all part of your soul. Like, there's times that things don't feel good and they're not meant to feel good. And we have this notion, we've been convinced that any kind of belief change and mindset work we do, that we have to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
And that if any point we have any sense of negativity, somehow we're failing, or we're doing it wrong, or we just didn't get the memo, or we're just not clever enough, or we're just not good people. And that is completely wrong. There are ups that we are lifted like the ocean. The tide rises, and there are downs, and that's normal.
Yeah. And I think we experience that in ourselves. Like, we have good days and bad days, days we have loads of energy, days where we're low on energy, personal things that happen to us. And also you experience that in the wider environment. You experience that in the world. Like, we all are a part of the fabric of the wider world. There could be things happening in the news, there could be things happening in your town. Yeah, there's just basics. Weather, affects mood hugely. So when we talk about ups and downs, there's stuff about it that we can control, and many aspects about it that we actually just can't. And we just have to manage our own reaction to whatever it is that's happening more widely. Right? I think the reason why I think we really wanted to focus on this is because there's a difference, isn't there, between going through ups and downs at work, going through cycles at work, and knowing that you are coming to a place that's actually a bit of a rut. Like, the downs are getting longer and the ups are getting smaller. And this is the place where I've observed in my own career, I've observed others in their careers starting to question, like, is this me? Or is this a perfectly normal reaction to what's going on outside of me at work? Should I focus on making myself stronger, more resilient? Is this a challenge that I've got to overcome? I've got to get through. There's growth on the other side of this. Or is it a moment to sort of take stock and say, actually, you know what, this is absolutely not working for me anymore, and it's time to leave? Like, how do you know the difference?
Okay, well, there's a lot there, but ultimately you kind of know in your gut instinct when you unpack everything that's happening. And there's good challenges. There's challenges that are bringing you to something else.
Yeah.
And then there's just challenge. And if you have relentless challenge, if there's relentless difficulties, if there's relentless low-level sort of dissatisfaction, that's really hard to cope with. Now, we try to push ourselves to be positive, and being positive is very important.
Yeah.
It genuinely is. Having a positive, a clear goal mindset to move forward to something. But if you find, I do the analogy, like, if you are putting your head on your pillow at night and you're thinking about a negative work situation repeatedly, and it is giving you that inner sense in your stomach of feeling low, of feeling ill, of you just start to doubt yourself, start to question yourself, 3 weeks. If you feel consistently down for 3 weeks, if you are feeling something, resistance, your body, your complete system is telling you something. So if you're feeling a certain way consistently for 3 weeks, you need to really examine it.
Yeah, you can't just pretend that it's a bad day. It's because it's by fact a bad 3 weeks, which is bad.
Yes, and here's the thing also. I use 3 weeks because 3 weeks is the measurable time it takes to reprogram your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind. So by that point, if you've had those feelings that have been washing around in your system, creating neural pathways in your mind, they become engendered within you. They affect your behavior. So by the end of those 3 weeks, from a cellular level, you're markedly, weakened. And you're beginning to acclimatize your body and your mind in a bad way to something that's not good. We feel feelings to alert us to look at something.
They're messengers.
They're messengers.
You can choose to ignore it, but the message has been delivered by the way that you feel. It's dangerous because when you start to accept something as normal, that becomes your new normal, that becomes your benchmark, your level for where you feel well actually drops quite dramatically, and you start to tolerate incredibly dangerous situations, things that you should not be tolerating, and then it becomes hard to see that you're actually in a bit of a trap. I know something else from experience. I feel like a lot of the downs at work, as well as a lot of the ups at work, they're actually related to people, aren't they? If we're really honest, it's not the work, it's not the workload, it's the relationships that you have at work. Now, I think one thing that all good organizations have, all good places of work or study have, is they've got relationships of trust. They've managed to instill in their structure, they've managed to put up a framework where you have got places or people you can go to where you can feel safe and you can have conversations and you can debrief. It's not always a problem. It's just that you feel like, if I imagine sort of a spider web, you just feel connected to people. And one of the things that, again, I've experienced is a lot of the times when you mentor relationships in that structure, it isn't a safe place.
No.
It isn't a safe place at all. It's actually like the people you should be able to get guidance from and advice from are there with a premise to judge you.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know that we've been discussing this, it's a topic that we've been discussing off camera, and it's that non-review mentorship.
Yeah.
So that it is somebody within your organization, maybe they're not even in your department, but when you go to them to kind of unpack and, bounce things off them, we all need somebody to bounce things off. Just say, what do you think about this? I know in my own work that there's a certain number of other professionals that if I have a client that I'm struggling with or a situation I don't understand, I say, hey, have you seen this? What does this mean to you? Doesn't mean I can't figure it or that they're better than me, which we often think. There's great power in being able to say, give me your perspective on this. I think organizations, if they can somehow embed that mentorship for things that aren't just purely outcome orientated or review based, or if I go here and I say this, it's going to be marked against me.
Yes, because that instills fear, and fear is an environment where trust cannot live. It cannot take root in a place that fills you with fear.
No.
So we're going to come, I think, to talk a lot more in detail about this in sort of our authentic leadership segment. But I think it all starts with, it's just important to point out in this topic, that it starts with being authentic with ourselves, being whole and fulfilled in ourselves. If the firm or the environment that you're working for is full of very insecure sort of individuals, or you're getting that fear, or it's very hierarchical, or it's the attention that people pay to mistakes is so disproportionate to the attention they pay to successes. I mean, that's just you have to be able to take stock of that and be like, I don't want to just brush this under the carpet. I don't choose to believe that overcoming this will make me strong. This is actually a bad place and I need to get out.
Some places, hierarchies people love. There's actually some soul energies that love hierarchical places. They feel that they know where they're at, and it gives them that sense of security. Also, our mind does tend to want to solve problems. So we view something negative as a problem, and we really kind of focus on it and we solve it. We often don't recognize our successes because we go, okay, that wasn't really difficult. It's done with. Where we can tend to focus more on problems, but we should massively recognize our successes. They give us that sense of security and trust.
Yeah.
To build more.
Absolutely. And I think what that means is that no matter how many ups and downs you're experiencing, even if it is time to leave your organization, or even if it is time to sort of dig down and work harder, on a personal level, it's about sort of mining your internal resources and understanding that even with all of these ups and downs, you're whole, you're safe, you're contained, and looking for that sense of security in yourself no matter what else is going on outside.
That's the key to it.